On July 18, 2015, a U.S. Navy drug patrol aircraft conducted its routine daily surveillance flight off the coast of El Salvador in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The objective was to monitor oceanic hotspots and identify suspected drug traffic routes. Just moments into the flight, the aircraft detected unusual activity over the ocean, approximately 200 miles south of Mexico. Upon initial tracking, the crew identified an unknown semi-submersible with its head and exhaust pipe visible above the water surface. The crew promptly relayed this information to the United States Coast Guard's ground staff. The USCG cutter Stratton, patrolling nearby waters, received the information and, accompanied by a couple of speedboats, headed toward the identified location. Approaching the submersible, the trained crew members issued a warning to the submersible to surface, and amidst this, equipped personnel leaped into the visible cockpit, successfully seizing the vessel. The 4 traffickers on board were taken into custody. While this may appear to be a routine drug raid, this anti-narcotic operation stands out as the largest recorded semi-submersible interdiction in Coast Guard history. The captured 40-foot-long semi-submersible contained 274 bales packed with 16,870 pounds, that's 7,650 kilograms of cocaine, with a market value of approximately $241 million. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel as we explore what really goes down when the U.S. Coast Guard busts a narco-submarine. A narco-submarine, also known as a drug sub or narco-sub, is a specialized vessel designed for smugglers that operates as a custom ocean-going, self-propelled, semi-submersible or fully submersible craft. These vessels are utilized for transporting substantial quantities of cocaine, taking advantage of their low waterline profile to minimize the risk of detection by visual, radar, sonar, or infrared systems. Their cargo capacity varies depending on the vessel size, with several tons being typical. In the case of the submersible captured on July 18, 2015, which we previously discussed, was found to be carrying the largest recorded drug cartel load, weighing 8.4 tons, or 16,870 pounds. Upon capture, 6 tons of cocaine were removed from the submersible, while approximately 2 tons were left on board to maintain balance as the USCG Stratton attempted to tow it to shore. Unfortunately, the makeshift vessel began taking on water and ultimately sank in 13,000 feet of international waters. Consequently, around 2 tons of cocaine seized during the raid were lost to the depths, leaving the USCG crew with 6 tons, that's 12,000 pounds of cocaine, with a market value of $181 million. However, apart from being the most extensive narcotic submarine seizure to date, this mission marked the inaugural occasion when one of its vessels intercepted 2 submarines during a single patrol. The Stratton, stationed in California, also confiscated 2.7 tons, that's 5,400 pounds of cocaine. The initial instance of a narco-submarine emerged in 1988 when an unmanned 6.4 meter, that's 21-foot submarine was discovered off the coast of Boca Raton, Florida. This submarine was designed to be towed by a boat and submerged through remote control. Although the sub was found empty, authorities suspected its intended use was for smuggling, especially after realizing that the hatch could only be opened from the outside. In the early 1980s, go-fast boats were the preferred vessels for smuggling in various regions globally. However, as radar technology advanced, these go-fast boats became more susceptible to detection, prompting the evolution of semi-submersibles. However, there isn't a singular type of a narco-submarine. Drug traffickers utilize semi-submersibles, torpedoes, and conventional submarines based on the scale of their drug operations. Some of these vessels are assembled in parts and then reconstructed in different locations under the cover of the jungle canopy, often in camps. The construction of each of these vessels can incur a cost exceeding $2 million and may take more than a year to complete. In a single journey, these submarines can transport sufficient cocaine, resulting in over $100 million in illicit profits for traffickers. Interestingly, despite the considerable expense, some of these crafts are designed for one-time use, left abandoned at sea after a successful delivery, even though their shipments hold a street value of up to $400 million. However, recent inspections of confiscated vessels have revealed the use of zinc bars as sacrificial anodes, aimed at minimizing corrosion on metal components exposed to seawater. While corrosion wouldn't pose an immediate issue for a single trip, its impact on long-term durability suggests the vessels are intended for multiple voyages. These vessels excel in stealth, making them seldom captured. In fact, only 11% of all narco subs fall into the hands of coast guards. This low capture rate is attributed to the sophisticated camouflage tactics employed, which vary based on the operation's intensity and type of submarine in use. Even in the event of a Coast Guard interception, the Coast Guard team has to be quick. This is because each vessel is designed with the capability to quickly sink and obliterate any incriminating evidence within minutes. Types of narco-submarines. As previously discussed, narco-submarines generally fall into three categories: semi-submersible, true submarine, and torpedo. Semi-submersible. Semi-submersible narcotic vessels are typically submarines that remain submerged with only their exhaust pipe and cockpit area protruding above the water's surface. While they may appear detectable, advancements in their design and manufacturing techniques have enhanced their capabilities over time, ranging from 12 to 24 meters. The average 18-meter narco semi-submarine defies expectations, reaching speeds of 18 kilometers per hour, or 9.7 knots, while with the capacity of carrying a staggering 10 tons of cocaine. Crafted from fiberglass, propelled by a 225 to 260 kilowatt diesel engine, and manned by a crew of 4 to 5, these vessels boast enhanced seaworthiness and heightened capacity. Equipped with satellite navigation systems and long-range HF-SSB radio communication capabilities, they feature cargo space for large fuel tanks, providing a range of 3,200 kilometers. That's 1,700 nautical miles. Interestingly, the use of fiberglass and the vessel's proximity to the water's surface makes it nearly impervious to sonar and radar detection, with even visual identification proving challenging due to their blue camouflage paint and minimal wake production. Ingeniously, newer models further reduce susceptibility to infrared detection by detecting exhaust along the hull's bottom for cooling. Moreover, they even employ ballast tanks to adjust buoyancy, allowing them to ride low in the water. True submarine. On the other side, a true submarine takes stealth and precision to a whole new level. Unlike a semi-submersible, it plunges entirely underwater, leaving absolutely no trace on the surface for patrolling aircraft to sniff out. Unless, of course, it's unfortunate enough to pop up or get nabbed by the USCG patrol boat's underwater navigation system. Now, narco-submarines were deemed peculiar until 2000, when Colombian cops stumbled upon a jaw-dropping find. A whopping 36-meter-long true submarine in a Bogota warehouse. This double-hulled steel beast could have cruised 3,700 kilometers, dived 100 meters deep, and packed a punch with around 15 tons of cocaine. In general, a fully submersible diesel-electric true submarine has a 30 to 40 meter long fiberglass and Kevlar hull, a 3 to 4 meter conning tower with a periscope, and even air conditioning. With room for 10 to 15 tons of cargo and a crew of 5 or 6 people. Moreover, it can dive down a cool 100 meters, making it a heavyweight champion for those deep-sea operations. Torpedo. But just when we thought things were winding down, it got more intense. In August 2005, authorities found an unmanned semi-submersible in the Pacific Ocean, resembling a torpedo-style cargo container, rather than a fully self-propelled ship. These torpedo-style submarines also use a ballast tank to stay around 30 meters or 98 feet underwater while being towed by a fishing vessel. What's wild is that in case a patrol ship shows up, they release the torpedo-like cargo, which stays underwater on their own, while a sneaky buoy disguised as a wooden log surfaces above it. This log buoy has a location transmitter system, letting co-traffickers snag the torpedo once the coast is clear. If the original vessel can't fetch the cargo, A backup fishing vessel can use the transmission system to track it down. And here's the kicker. Relying on the log buoy is a last-ditch move, because you can't always dodge the risks. According to the experts, those USCG patrolling aircraft might raise an eyebrow at the sudden appearance of marine debris, which would be a random log just floating out in the ocean surface. Moreover, the sensors on the patrolling boats would catch wind of signals from the buoy's transmission systems and try to find out their location. To stay incognito, the crew on the towing boat acts like they're just another ordinary fishing vessel, sidestepping the hazards of using the log buoy. And there's more. This log buoy can even shoot out encrypted coordinates at irregular intervals, further elaborating the location of its presence. The brains behind this tech boasts about nearly 100% success in delivering shipments, and they're ramping up to make these torpedoes remote-controlled using encrypted signals beamed via satellite, causing a whole new challenge for those Coast Guard authorities in the years to come. Interdiction of narco-submarine, a step-by-step process. To seize such stealthy vessels, the Coast Guard launches drug raids with a relentless detection strategy. They gather intel, use advanced radar and sonar, and patrol known trafficking routes, working closely with international partners. Suspicious vessels, especially those trying to stay hidden, are their prime targets. Advanced detection and surveillance. Spotting a narco-submarine is a high-tech operation. A specialized aircraft equipped with advanced surveillance systems identifies it when it's partially submerged. For true submarines, Coast Guard ships deploy underwater sensors to locate them beneath the surface. Once identified, the critical phase kicks in, keeping a constant eye on the suspicious vessel. Surveillance efforts intensify, closely monitoring its movements and gathering additional intelligence. This phase requires seamless coordination with international partners due to the potential crossing of multiple jurisdictions. The information collected during this tracking phase forms the basis for the subsequent interdiction planning. Intercepting the narco-submarines, which is a complex stage demanding a meticulous risk assessment and legal authorization. Authorities thoroughly weigh the risks tied to intercepting the narco-submarine, factoring weather conditions, vessel capabilities, and potential resistance from armed traffickers on board. Legal approvals are diligently sought to ensure compliance with international laws governing maritime interdiction. The actual interception is a highly coordinated effort, demanding the deployment of specialized vessels like fast patrol boats or cutters. Authorities may also call in air support, including helicopters, for aerial surveillance and assistance. Depending on the operational intensity, authorities decide whether to execute an all-in raid or leave room for traffickers to surrender voluntarily. This guides the initiation of communication and warning procedures, signaling the suspected vessel to stop, surface, and submit to inspection. If the suspected vessel attempts to flee, or authorities opt for a surprise raid due to concerns, stealthy patrol boats and cutters, typically numbering 2 to 3, manned by highly trained Coast Guard personnel in collaboration with international law enforcement and sometimes U.S. Navy forces, discreetly pursue the suspected vessel. The objective is to approach as closely as possible without alerting the smugglers. This phase demands precision and careful navigation to evade detection by the vessel's crew. Coast Guard personnel use tactics to minimize noise and maintain a covert approach. Authorities may resort to non-lethal force to disable the vessel or ensure cooperation. Once the narco-submarine is intercepted, the Coast Guard teams board the submarine, conducting an intense search to find and seize illegal goods. Arrest and detention phase. After the successful boarding and seizure, the process shifts firmly to the arrest and detention phase. Those apprehended are taken into custody, and their identities are thoroughly verified. Legal proceedings kick off against those tangled in the drug trafficking web. The seized cargo and captured individuals play a pivotal role in an ongoing investigation into the larger drug trafficking network. Moreover, crucial information and evidence might be shared with international partners to bolster collective efforts against transnational organized crime. Closing the legal gaps. This particular method of seizing a suspected narco-submarine has significantly improved recently. Before 2008, when military forces tried to seize semi-submersibles linked to drug trafficking, crews often sank the vessels intentionally to destroy evidence, as discussed earlier. Prior to the U.S. Drug Trafficking Vessel Interdiction Act of September 2008, as per the International Maritime Law, if crews were rescued and no clear evidence of wrongdoing existed, they were usually released without legal consequences. To fill this legal gap and discourage such activities, the 2008 Act made it a felony for individuals knowingly operating or embarking on a self-propelled semi-submersible, also called SPSS, without nationality, intending to evade detection in international waters. The penalty for this offense is a prison term of up to 20 years in the United States. Technological hurdles. Yet the loophole wasn't just confined to laws. The narco-submarine detection fleet and technology itself faced a significant barrier for years in detecting and identifying these suspected vessels. Apart from the stealthy tactics used by drug traffickers, experts attribute the challenge to the fact that 70% of the Coast Guard's fleet is over 50 years old. They're slow and demand extensive maintenance before deployment. Lieutenant Commander Stephen Bricky emphasizes that the current fleet lacks the capability to effectively combat the alarming surge in drug trade, especially from Central and South America over the past 4 years. To tackle this pressing issue, recent drug cartel busts marked a significant milestone as the Coast Guard deployed advanced ships for the first time in counter-drug patrols. These vessels excel at detecting elusive boats and swiftly initiating raids. Additionally, in 2007, the U.S. Coast Guard took a crucial step by enhancing their underwater acoustic sensors to detect submarines that are operating at greater depths, completely submerged without leaving any surface disturbance. Do you truly believe these enhancements will make a significant difference in managing the ongoing war on drugs throughout the United States, a battle that has already drained an astonishing $1 trillion from the pockets of everyday taxpayers since 1971? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. If you appreciate the content, show us some love with a thumbs up, and be sure to explore the rest of our videos on the channel.